Very good evening and welcome. You're watching the India Development Debate. I'm Tamanna Inamdar. Today, the big story is our focus on a Supreme Court Constituent Committee that has released its report that it gave the top court on the Adani Group after the allegations of Hindenburg. Now, this report gives a veritable clean chit by the Supreme Court appointed panel of that examine data from the national market regulator SEBI to investigate claims of financial fraud, stock price manipulation, etc. made by Hindenburg Research earlier this year in January. The report clearly says that it finds no regulatory failure on price manipulation by the group, and prima facie, there was no wrongdoing on the part of the conglomerate. Now, to speak more on this and get into details of what exactly the report says, is it a clean chit of sorts, considering that SEBI has now asked for more time to give its side of the story, and the demand for a JPC continues. To understand all of these aspects, I'm joined now by senior lawyer Mukul Rohatgi, who's talking about the report. Mr. Rohatgi, thank you so much for speaking with us today on ET Now. Should we look at the report as a clean chit, considering that they say they can't find regulatory lapses because SEBI is still investigating some parts of it? So is it really a clean chit?
Now look, Tamanna, the report is given by a committee headed by a judge of the Supreme Court. So the judge knows and the other members know what is their remit. So when they started investigating on the points which have been formulated, obviously SEBI has given them the information, whatever SEBI has got, apart from what SEBI is still investigating. So the question is, as of today, what is the position? Now, as of today, it is very clear from the report that the Adani Group is not blameworthy, whether it's a case of stock price manipulation, whether it's a case of relating to related party transactions, or whether it's a case relating to minimum public shareholding requirements. In fact, the report goes further to say that Adani has taken positive mitigating factors to restore public confidence or shareholders' confidence after 24th of January, and the price of the stock is stable. That's what the report says, though it may not have reached the pre-January 24 levels. Now, given that these are the sum and substance of the bullet points of the report, I mean, one could say that the Adani Group has not come under any finding of even prima facie guilt. Now, if that is so, and also the fact, you must note, it is important to note that as you know that the Hindenburg Group is interested in short selling, and that is how they make their money. They have also said in this report that 6 entities, which include 4 foreign entities, had probably were privy to the report, and they sold the stock before 24th of March or on 24th of March, and then made a killing by buying cheaper after the prices fell. The names of those entities have not been disclosed. Obviously, it is not Adani, but it is clear that it was a calculated attack on behalf of Hindenburg and some others concerned to create a stir and to create panic in the Indian market, because the share of Adani is bought and traded by millions of shareholders. That is what it was meant to do, and was meant for their own petty profits, which obviously some of them have made. So as of today, net, the position is that there is no basis to say that the Adani Group is guilty of any malfeasance in relation to the SEBI requirements.
You know, Mr. Rohatgi, the intention of Hindenburg and why they put out this report was not really the question before this committee, whether they were malintentioned or whatever their intention was. The point of the report or their purview was on whether the allegations of wrongdoing had any merit, which is why, for example, on the point of price manipulation, the report says that SEBI is still looking into it. So we can't really say there was wrongdoing, which is why I ask, is this truly a clean chit, considering SEBI's final findings are yet to be known?
But I would only say as of today, The report clearly says that there is no fault. I mean, if something else is being investigated, something else will come out later. Nobody can predict the future. But one thing is clear, that there is a report given today. Why was the report given today? I mean, report has been given because the committee went through some of its exercises, looked at it, framed a report, which means that they wanted to submit this report to the public or to the court and submit their findings. These findings are not merely tentative and you see, just to be added. These findings have some meaning, and the meaning today is that there is no material to hold any regulatory filing failing on behalf of the Adani Group. That's all.
Okay, the other aspect of this is in one of the factors that the report is investigating, which is specifically what was the final ownership of some of these FPIs. It points out the discrepancy in regulations, that in 2018 some rules were changed. Despite that, SEBI continues its investigation or starts an investigation in 2020, and hence they can't say there was any wrongdoing because the rules aren't clear, put very simply. Does this, in your view, point out to regulatory loopholes in how SEBI is functioning?
No, I would not say regulatory loopholes, but it is clear to me that you see, with this changing scenario, these rules and these regulations of SEBI require constant relook or a constant look to how to streamline these things in view of moving technology. Technology is moving at a very fast speed. The rules and regulations kind of get left behind. You see, so SEBI should have a body which continuously looks at its various regulations. SEBI has got some 50 or 100 regulations of all types, of listing, prospectus, predatory pricing, purchases, open market offer. There's so many regulations. They should be constantly under a spate of review at all times to see that they are in place and in tune with the latest technology and market conditions. So sometimes these are lacking, and therefore the report says they need to holistically strengthen some of these regulations. That's fine. I mean, that should be a point where SEBI should look at it positively. But it is clear that that is not amounting to raising a finger at the group.
Was there also a contradiction, because this is a question that came up in the public domain, was there a contradiction in what SEBI said in court and what the government declared in parliament, specifically to when the investigations have started? SEBI has gone to court and said we need more time, and they've made it very clear that they were not investigating so far. But the government in parliament has come and said that investigations were ongoing. Do you have any commentary on this apparent contradiction?
No, see, Tamanna, I am not privy to all this. I have just read the report, and I only know that because I was in the Supreme Court, that SEBI made an application that they want 6 months more time, etc. But the court has given time till August. I mean, I don't really know now whether there is this contradiction or not. It's not.
Okay. Okay. This is, in a sense, a question that is more than just about one company or one group and regulations in India. Has become a huge political issue. There has been a constant demand of the opposition parties for a JPC, a joint parliamentary probe into it. Do you think that this report will put rest to those questions?
I think the report should put an end to this debate of JPC. That debate is really on the political front. It will be raised in the political arena. I am not a politician, I don't want to comment on that, but all I want to say is the public was entitled to know speedily and be assured of their investment. The report clearly records that investor in confidence has been, maintained and buttressed. In fact, the report also says that more investors have come. You see, even after January 24, the price may not be the same as prior to January 24, but generally the position is stable and calm. Now, whether you have a JPC or not is up to Parliament, but I don't think there is any need to go again into that thing when there is the report of the Supreme Court of India.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Rohatgi, for joining us on the show. But we continue the conversation. PR Ramesh, advocate, is with us on the show. I'm also speaking with Sanjay Hegde, Senior Advocate in the Supreme Court. Welcome to both of you, and thank you so much for joining us today on the India Development Debate as we try and break down what the significance is of what the Supreme Court-backed panel has actually said in court and actually said in its report, actually. Mr. Ramesh, let me begin with your take. Is this... Yeah. In a sense, a clean chit, or does it say that as of now, as per the information we have not spotted any wrongdoing?
See, Tamanna, I will put it this way. See, this committee has been formed to look at various aspects. See, one is about the related party transactions, the FPI holding, and also about price manipulations. Okay, now when you look at the price manipulation, I think this report is giving a clear-cut clean chit on the increase in the prices. See, because this group has not been involved after the the carnage after the 24th January report. So therefore, this report is very clear that the promoters are not involved, or even if their FPIs, over whichever FPIs were they're supposed to be linked or directly or indirectly. So none of them are involved in the price movement upwards. So that is a very, very clear categorical finding regarding the price rise with reference to the Adani stocks. So therefore, I feel as regards, if you look at the other two parts, see, one is this FPI. See, your concern has been raised again and again that so directly or indirectly, the promoters are having control there across the minimum public shareholding limit and all. I think this report is very categorical in that also, because this report says the PMLA rules, which are the basis for this entire the beneficial holding disclosures. So the PMLA rules have been complied with, which the ED has also confirmed. And in fact,
Mr. Ramesh, the report says that the report says that in 2018 these rules were changed. So the extent of disclosure required changes. But SEBI is still starts an investigation in 2020. Is it clear why?
That is exactly, which this report itself says that the report says we are surprised why SEBI is doing, and they may be chasing something which is not required. You just see para 60 of the report. It's very clear. So they are saying suspicion. You look at suspicion, on what basis suspicion? And the report also goes on to say you may have a suspicion, but it's not a violation of law. Then actually, in fact, I will say the Adani Group should now ask SEBI, why are you unnecessarily suspecting, doing an investigation on something which when the compliance is already there? So, and Tamanna, I like to point one very important thing in the report. So, when the Supreme Court was approached by certain investors or certain groups, the whole issue was there was substantial volatility caused by the fall in the Adani stocks. This report categorically says there has not been substantial or even a very negligible volatility in the markets before or after this fall, and whatever the price fall is only related to this stock. So therefore, the market-wide impact or a market-wide fraud, this group has, all that doesn't stand now. So therefore, looking at that background, this group actually, in my view, should ask SEBI, why are you doing certain investigations based on mere suspicion? So what is this? So what are they going to achieve? Like if they give the report clearly, I am really surprised that SEBI wants more time to find out who are the beneficial holders. So what are they going what are they going to achieve? The same thing for the related party transactions. If you look at the RPTs also, the report is categorical that the rules kept on changing, and whatever rules were there relevant time, it has been complied. Now, where is the witch hunting going on? I think this is certain very serious issues have been raised in this report in a very fair manner, So because the people who are on the committee are well experts, they've gone through that report very clearly, and I feel like SEBI has been investigating these matters from 2020, not from now. Even before the Hindenburg report, they have been investigating this on certain issues which is not in the law.
Okay, Mr. Hegde, what is your view on this? Is this the committee members, well-respected committee members, saying that we found no wrongdoing, or is it the committee members saying that as of now, and I asked this question to Mr. Rohatgi too, as of now, as of the information we have today, we can't say there was a regulatory fault.
So what the committee is saying this, that no case is made out as of now. The committee is also saying that we need to investigate further. So that brings you back to that classic formulation that absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. You cannot presume that everything was hunky-dory. What needs to be seen is that based on the information now, we may have certain grounds to investigate further. Right now, we say that we have not found conclusive evidence, but we need time, and as of now, it looks prima facie clean. It's a prima facie view. If they had come to a conclusion, they would have definitely said that this is our conclusion, and it's for the court to act upon. They could have very well told the court that we have examined everything, and we find no further reason to investigate further unless you direct us. They have not said that. What they say is that there were certain opacities in the rules. There seems to be substantial compliance of the rules as they then existed. Then they want further analysis of charts and with data from SEBI. So I would not rush to give people a clean chit based on this report.
Now, the question, Mr. Ramesh, continues, and you raised it as well, that if this report says, I found nothing wrong, what is SEBI now looking for? What is it asked 6 months for and has been granted 3 months, but what do they now need to see? And if we can be very specific and simple about it, because, a lot of nuance and information about the story has gotten lost in the legalese. What are we looking for?
So let me put it this way, in very simple terms, Tamanna. See, this report says SEBI has sought time to make further investigations. Okay, now, so they are saying further investigations relating to the beneficial ownership and the related party transactions. Now, the report is also, on the other hand, saying, like, by doing further investigation, they're not going to achieve anything. For the simple reason, whatever law was there at that point of time, there has been compliance. So therefore, my take is that what is SEBI going to investigate? If they can keep suspecting anything, suspicion will not result in any sort of enforcement action, because that is not law. That is also very clear in the report. So therefore, to put it in simple terms, SEBI is going to take more time, and they will assuming lead to something else. So, but that is not in violation of the law, is what this report says. Even if they're going to get anything, it's not in relation. There will not be a violation of the law which prevailed at that point of time. And regarding the price movement, there is a very categorical finding as regards that FPIs. Even assuming well, in the worst case scenario, there is a link between promoter and the FPI. The FPI is actually a seller during whatever patches they have taken. So therefore, these FPIs were not involved in the price manipulation, and the promoters have not been involved in the price manipulation. To that extent, I think this report is giving a very clear-cut clean sheet, or whatever you can call it, as a sort of a finding in favor of the Adani Group.
Is that how you would look at it, Mr. Hegde? If you don't want to say clean chit, you're saying it's not a clean chit till the SEBI report is still out. Would you say that this is favorable in the sense that prima facie, as of today, this committee has found no wrongdoing? And frankly, is it a clean chit for the Adani Group or for SEBI? From a lot of the points that the report has made, it seems like SEBI's role was under the lens. They're looking at whether there was regulatory failing.
Equally, SEBI was equally under the scanner, because look, at the end of the day, there is a report by a private entity which short sold and has made its spike. Now, the market has delivered its judgment one way or the other. As far as SEBI's role is concerned, did SEBI turn a blind eye? Were there regulatory red flags that SEBI missed? All these are questions which lie within the remit of the committee. The committee says that so far we have found no evidence. The committee does not rule out the possibility that no further evidence will be found. So therefore, I do not agree with this line of argument which says that, oh, let's just shut the file. Nothing is going to come out of it 6 months later. There are experts on that committee They want to do a thorough job before they finally say that that there is no evidence of infection. I think that they are well entitled to that time. I don't think that the game is over.
The game isn't over. Mr. Ramesh, your comment. It's, for the Adani Group, it's not like they're out of the woods completely vis-a-vis the Hindenburg report and the allegations therein.
As I mentioned to you, like these further, if you look at the report, I'm just quoting from the report. The report itself says you do further investigation and go where? What is it? See, they're quoting their language used is, it's an investigation without a destination. Okay. So therefore, what are they going to do? Because at that point of time, whatever was the relevant law, the group has been in compliance. So therefore, they also qualify with saying further investigations are going on. But what are they going to, where it is going to end? So therefore, in my view, I think, in my view, Adani Group should be asking SEBI, like you are doing on the basis of suspicion, and you have been investigating for 2 years, 3 years, you have been investigating. So what is that you are going to achieve? And particularly when this particular, the report itself is not having a market-wide impact. So what are they going behind and what are they going to achieve? I think that is what the group should be asking, and the report is very clear. Like in fact, the report even goes on to say that okay, this Hindenburg report could have created a massive commercial issue. Like there could be a market, it's a market view on certain things, debt and all that stuff. But none of these are really in violation of law. So therefore, this report is in a way giving a lot of favorable. The view about how this Adani Group is not involved in all these matters. And in fact, what SEBI is, like you say, SEBI is scrutiny. Even they're saying SEBI has been under scrutiny by the committee. But they're saying SEBI has complied with all these investigations because what are the law prevailing at the time? They have seen everything. So what more they need to do? But still SEBI wants to investigate or to go behind whatever is the suspicious transactions related to the related party transactions or this one. But I personally doubt that is going to result in any sort of enforcement action because there could be no violation of law.
Last comments from you, Sanjay Hegde. Whatever SEBI comes up with now in the next few months, the fact is that the sting has gone out of it. Because, they have found nothing so far. It's not clear what SEBI will find. SEBI's own rules changed in 2018 and they started some investigation in 2020. Effectively, do you think that the blunt force of Hindenburg, which hit the Adani Group, has now seen some sort of a shock absorber in this report?
See, the blunt force was felt immediately.
Yeah.
Once the Supreme Court then was petitioned and it has appointed a group to look into all the transactions, we have to await the final outcome of that. You cannot say prematurely speculate that the entire impact has entirely been absorbed and from now on there is no danger. As I said earlier, you never know which way the evidence will pan out and when it will pan out. If a high-powered committee appointed by the Supreme Court itself wants to say that we want some more time to be doubly sure before we tell the court, no, we find nothing, you can safely close it. I don't think that the Supreme Court will say, no, you have not found anything so far, therefore we are closing it immediately. That is not going to happen.
So a lot left in the SEBI investigation, perhaps. We have to wait and see what comes of it. As of today, as of the information we have right now, the report which was submitted by a committee of very, very respectable experts in the space has found no regulatory wrongdoing, based on the information they had. And remember, they were privy to whatever SEBI has investigated so far. SEBI was instructed by the court to keep them in the loop. So that's how it stands as of today. Thank you so much, Sanjay Hegde and PR Ramesh, for joining us on the show.
Thank you.
We'll take a very short break, but a lot more coming up on the other side. Stay tuned.